On today's show, will we get a Man of Steel 2 soon? Star Trek boldly goes where no man has gone before, and the Predator signs up for Ancestry.com. Movie Talk starts right now. And we got a little movie to talk about this weekend. You guys hear there's a superhero movie coming up? We'll talk about all that stuff. That is the one, the only, from the new How Stuff Works podcast, Nerdificent, Dani Fernandez joining us for the first time, as is comedian Ed Greer, who you will be seeing on Comedy Central very, very soon in a matter of days/weeks here. I am merely Mark Ellis, and between the three of us here at the table, we've seen Avengers Infinity War 4 times. That's good news. The bad news is that I've seen it twice. Danny's seen it twice. Ed, we're still waiting on you, bud.
I'm seeing it in an hour.
Oh.
How excited are you? Where is your? Are you more nervous? Are you more anxious? Are you just trying to live in a bubble where you will not get spoiled?
The bubble spoil. I'm in the Mysterio helmet, and it's just all full of gas, and I don't want anybody to do anything or tell me anything.
Well, we're very excited for you to check it out, Dani. I know you and I have both gotten a chance to see it multiple times. We have not paid money to see it yet, though, which
I know.
is kind of one of the perks of the business. The movie did make a lot of money last night. The Thursday night sneak preview numbers are in for here. In the States, $39 million, which is a whole boatload of cash. Add that to $95 million. It's already raked in internationally. And so, Dani, I pose the question to you first. Do these numbers indicate that we could have a new record holder for domestic weekend total? Do you think that Infinity War has a chance to break the Force Awakens record?
So was Force Awakens already past this point on Friday morning?
Yeah, I was shocked at the numbers that I saw for Force Awakens because I remember it being the biggest movie ever, but that movie made $57 million Thursday.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think a lot of people, for the same reason why you would want to go see Infinity War opening night, is because you don't want the movie
Anyone to
ruin
that
for
one
you.
especially. Well, I feel like Force Awakens is a little bit different because that was like they're coming back. We hadn't seen these characters to begin with, but some of them we hadn't seen in decades. So I do feel like it's a little bit different than this one. However, because this has been building up for a decade, I don't know, but then I'm like, I don't think my mom and like my, family that hasn't been following the films is as inclined to go and see it. Like that's another side of the demographic. If you haven't been keeping up with the films, you're going to get a little bit lost.
Yeah, I mean, I still say that I think that Star Wars is a little more generational, at least The Force Awakens was. And The Last Jedi, by the way, is number 2 all time as far as Thursday night previews go with $45 million. So, Ed, I think that this movie is going to land number 2. I think that it's not going to get to $248 million. I think it's probably going to be around 230-ish. So I think it will beat The Last Jedi. How do you see things shaking out? And how much money will you be contributing to the movie this weekend?
I think I'll probably see it twice. I'll see it that first time and I'll see it with my girl. Sometimes I cheat on my girl by going without her so I could just be alone. You know what I mean? And I'm just like by myself. And then like I don't tell her that I did it.
That's a true mate, and that's actually the opposite of cheating on your girl. Which if you just go to the movies, that's the worst transgression you commit in a relationship. You are aces, kid.
Oh, yeah, well, that's part of the plan. Mark, you just broke it down too much. Now they know that it was a humble brag.
I've been on panels with your girl, and I feel like she would be a fun person to go to the movies with.
Oh, yeah, but that's how not fun I am. When I'm so involved in it, I'm just like, nah, man, I got to watch this game. But yeah, as far as the domestic box office, I think it is going to come in at number 2 for the reasons that Dani talked about. And I just have I was watching Civil War with 2 old ladies who just stumbled in to watch a movie, and they were like, there's too many characters. That was their total critique of Avengers Civil War. And I think that's America's critique to some degree. Whereas with Star Wars, it's just like, it's the 20-year buildup. It's
I still think my mom's gonna see them and be like, "That Jake Gyllenhaal, so handsome. He's so handsome in that suit. That Jake Gyllenhaal or Zach Braff." My mom thinks everybody is Zach Braff. So Robert Downey Jr. is also Zach Braff.
But you have a nice out with this movie because you can just tell your mom, like, oh, yeah, the voice of the raccoon, that was Jake Gyllenhaal. Or that was or Groot. The voice of Groot was Zach Braff. So there you go, Mama Fernandez. We move on to another story, but we stay in the MCU, and that is the Black Widow movie is gaining a lot of traction with reports coming out that Marvel Studios is eyeing a number of different female directors to helm the movie, including a number of international directors who have done pictures that have done well overseas. That's where they started. started, and then they added some American directors to the list as well. So it's 5 females that they're currently looking at right now. This is great news for a number of different reasons, and all we want to talk about today is the director search. I don't want to get into speculation as to when this Black Widow movie is going to take place, if it's going to be a prequel, which is a lot of people are looking at. This movie, just from a directorial standpoint, Dani, they're going after women who may not have the biggest name in the business, but that has been Marvel's kind of MO thus far with who they're going after in general. I mean, they got the Russo brothers, who not a lot of people had heard of. They had, Taika Waititi doing Thor Ragnarok. Those kind of names. Who do you see emerging from this list, or do you have another director that you would nominate?
I do, yeah. I mean, with, I was really happy to hear about Luke Cage second season bringing on half of their episodes were directed by women. And so when I saw Lucy Liu was in there, I was like, this is a woman who has also actually been in those scenes doing combat as a Charlie's Angel, and now she's directing Luke Cage. Now she is a part of the Marvel family. So I think that would be cool to also see her doing that. Or I always like to throw in my girl Lexi Alexander. I think that I would love to see her doing more of these films, because she's another person who has like actually been in her physical life, like hand-to-hand combat training and stuff. So I think that she would be someone that would be fantastic to direct this character.
That's an excellent point, because Ed, you look at like what 2 stuntmen were able to do who worked on The Matrix, and then is Stileski and Leach, and they were able to come on and direct John Wick because they worked with Keanu Reeves before, but they also knew how to film combat scenes. I think that Lexi would lend credence to that theory as well. The names that we have right now: Deniz Gamze Erguven, who is Turkish. She made a movie called Mustang that was critically acclaimed. Chloe Zhao, Amma Asante, and then adding to that list are 2 American women, Maggie Betts and Angela Robinson. Angela Robinson most recently did Professor Marston and the Wonder Women. Any of these names stand out to you as the person that you want to see direct a Black Widow movie?
You know what? I think a lot of women directors would be good for the emotional side, and then people like Lexi are great for both the emotional as well as the kung fu and choreography side. But I'd also like them to concentrate on having women in the fight coordination department. You know what I mean? Because former stunt women and even if like somebody like I know she's still an actor, but Michelle Yeoh. Somebody like that they'll come on as part of like the Yuen Woo Ping aspect of like getting the fighting right for her, getting moves that a woman can do, and not too much dance fighting and let me put my crotch on you stuff. Like figuring out how a woman can break a man down without using all of her body weight or whatever. The moves that a woman can do convincingly that are really sick. You know what I mean? I think that's because a lot of times male choreographers would just kick him 40 feet. That's what a guy would do, and then
kick him in the nuts.
Yeah, exactly. Gouge his eyes out, claw him. You're Catwoman now. You're not Black Widow. So I just feel like a little bit of concentration on her being able to do like what they've done so far is pretty sick.
Yeah,
Black Widow's fighting style is pretty slick.
Right.
It's been taken to another level, it seems like, in each subsequent movie where she's appeared. And when I was at the Women Who Kick Ass panel at Comic-Con this past summer, Charlize Theron was on stage talking about how she worked with David Leitch, who directed that movie, about not just cool fight scenes, but how somebody who is clearly outmatched as far as body weight goes, going up against a huge dude, how they would actually fight. And I think it pays off in that movie. That's the kind of thing that I want to see with a Black Widow movie as well. And so it looks like that we're going to see that sooner rather than later, but we want to be fair to both sides of the ledger. So we are now going to talk about the DCEU, and that is Henry Cavill has been on the red carpet at CinemaCon talking about Man of Steel 2, and we might be closer to that than a lot of fans thought. He was recently quoted as saying that I'm having a lot of conversations behind the scenes with certain people, and hopefully we'll be having conversations with other people who are also behind the scenes to make things start happening. It's very much my desire to do a Man of Steel 2, a direct sequel to Man of Steel, and there's a whole bunch of Superman story that I want to tell. There is a whole style of Superman's character that I'm very keen to tell, and I'm looking forward to the opportunity. Over the last month, it was reported by our own Stephen Frosty Weintraub here at Collider.com that Cavill had one picture left on his deal, but he also intimated that what they're looking to do potentially with the Superman character in the DCEU is make him sort of like what Sam Jackson has been as Nick Fury to the Avengers, where you may not necessarily be the star of every movie, but you're going to be popping in here and there to help usher in some sort of connectivity to each of these movies. There's been reports that people have seen Cavill on set of Shazam. So maybe that lends credence to that theory. So the slate that we have right now, Ed, we know Aquaman's coming out, and we know Shazam's coming out. We know Wonder Woman 2 is coming out, I believe, next summer. And then we have, or maybe next Christmas, and then we have the Birds of Prey movie. They just got announced, but we're not sure when that's coming out. How big of a priority is Man of Steel 2 on your docket?
I mean, personally, I think a Man of Steel 2 could make like a reset, like a Captain America 2, Winter Soldier. I feel like Marvel was right about to mess up. They were right about to go into a direction that wasn't quite as cool as what we've seen since. And I think Captain America 2 reset it. They decided to be able to put real genre movies into the superhero thing, into the superhero machine. Be like, okay, this is a 70s spy thriller with Captain America in it. You know, everybody knows that trope. So the bottom line is, I think this would be, just as he's intimating in that quote, I would like to do a style of Superman, i.e., I'm smiling for Christ's sake. I got my spit curl. I'm charming. I save people instead of dropping buildings on them. Superman, maybe. That's what he's saying, I believe. And I think if they do that, it could reset the whole universe.
It might be what they need to do. I mean, look, with the DCEU, I say make whatever movies you want until you decide you actually want to do a reboot and make the Justice League the way you wanted it to. But then I look back at Justice League. I know I enjoyed that movie maybe more than most people, at least critics. But Dani, do you think that we should still be going forward with this version of Superman, or do you think we just stick with the Wonder Woman we have and we blow everything else up around it?
I don't know, because I do feel like Henry, he fits this role so well that I agree that if he was given the opportunity to play a different type of Superman, we don't need to scrap him entirely. But I also want to say that I do kind of think that they should go in a direction of what we've seen. I know people hate them being compared to Marvel, but like Marvel's taking like C-list characters and allowing them and taking risks and playing with them. Why do we have to have all A-list characters, you know? And so they're starting to they did that a little bit with Suicide Squad, and they're going to kind of do that with Birds of Prey, where it's not our two anchor Batman, Superman, and then Wonder Woman as well. But like, I think have fun. Like at this point, have fun, take risks, throw in other players. Please give me Lobo. I really want a Lobo.
Oh,
me too.
I want
second
Lobo
that.
so bad.
Yes.
I just need my werewolf macho man Randy Savage. I know that freaking Momoa's already taken for he can play both, you know.
It would be
Just
funny if
throw
he
a
just
mustache, throw
played
a thick.
half the characters in the DC. Just flying around, doing bounty hunting stuff in outer space, eating Slim Jims. I mean, the one thing that I will say about Henry Cavill as Man of Steel is that y'all are right. He's a really good Superman, but I'm not sure what you're going to do with this character, because he also said that he wants a proper direct sequel to Man of Steel. Unfortunately, we made that movie, and it was called Batman v Superman, and then Superman at the end of that didn't pan out so well, and then we saw what happened in Justice League. So if you did make a Man of Steel 2, when does the movie take place?
I mean, I think that's where you just tell Actor Boy, the big boys are talking. We'll decide what it is. It's not a direct sequel. You can think of it as a sequel. Use your sense memory. Act like you're acting in a sequel. But we're rebooting this universe real quick. I think that's what you say. You cannot have it be in that world where, honestly, I don't want to ever hear them mention how he let his dad die. I don't ever want to mention any of that crap anymore. Any of that gray sky Superman stuff. Go away. Blue sky Superman, he's happy, he's smiling, he runs into some big, technological thing or whatever, and he punches it. Really punches it, now he flies around in a big tornado.
So less neck snappy, more punchy, big technological
Exactly.
things. Danny,
I think
do you like that version of the Superman? Is that what you want to see in the future of if Henry Cavill's doing it?
Last time I wore my Vegeta when I was on Schnepp's show, and I have my Goku, and I always make this thing: you can't have two Gokus or two Vegetas. You need them. Why are you're giggling?
No, actually, the chat room agrees with it. The chat room already a big fan of your DBZ.
Oh, okay, but what I was going to
garb.
say is that we have you can't have a Cap, and you have Iron Man, and you have Batman, and you have Superman, you have Goku, you have Vegeta. So you have you can't make one too brooding or too dark. We don't need that, and so we already have that in their counter character. And so I agree with Ed that I think it works that way. Is having this balance of a Dark Knight, of a darker character, and then having someone who's lighter and hopeful and optimistic, and something that maybe us humans can't relate to because we don't relate to that. We can't fathom a kind character. That's honestly sometimes why I see his character done wrong, is because us as humans can't fathom kind characters that are more pure-hearted, the way that Superman and Goku are.
Yeah, and Man of Steel, for whatever you want to say about that movie, I think that you pair that with Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman, obviously, I think the most celebrated DCU movie, but a lot of people really like Man of Steel. I don't think Zack Snyder would come back to direct this one. I don't think you should. I think you should get somebody else. You should get a fresh take on Superman, even if you want to have Henry Cavill, because I agree with the panel here. He's a really good Superman, so give him a chance to be Superman with the hair flip thing. With the,
He's charming.
blue hair.
That Zach Braff.
Yeah. It's Fernandez. It is not played by Zach Braff. And let's make sure if Henry Cavill does come back for Man of Steel 2, let's make sure there's not another movie he's working on that requires him to have a mustache. That's all I ask. Let's not have to Photoshop any mustaches out. Let him shave. Let the dear boy, actor boy, shave. We're going to go boldly into a different direction entirely, and that is the world of Star Trek. Now, we announced earlier on this week's movie talk that there's 2 Star Trek movies in development, one of which could involve Captain Kirk's dad. Now, Captain Kirk played by Chris Pine. His dad was played by Chris Hemsworth. Chris Hemsworth is coming back as is Zachary Quinto for this new movie, but the big news is that S.J. Clarkson has been tapped to direct the new Star Trek movie. This is the first female in the history of the Star Trek franchise, which is why I said we're boldly going where no man has gone before, and it's pretty exciting in general to have this new direction for Star Trek on all fronts. It's not just the fact that you have a new director, it's the fact that it's a female director, and the fact that you have different characters that are going to be in this timeline where you could potentially have Chris Pine as Captain Kirk run into his dad. So Dani, is S.J. Clarkson going to be helming the best version of outer space Back to the Future we've ever had?
I don't know. I'm really excited. I'm excited that they picked her. I know that she worked on Jessica Jones, and I love that as well. And I think that that's super important to have someone that can. I mean, I've talked to you about this privately, that I feel like a lot of times female characters were not allowed to be. I don't know what words I'm allowed to say on here. I'll just say unlikable instead of the B word. But I feel
bitchy.
Okay, yeah. And so I feel
Friday.
like Jessica is such a strong, like, that's what I want to see in this world, is that I feel the men are allowed to do that, and that's what I want to see in this world as well. And I think, is Tarantino still...
So Tarantino and J.J. Abrams, glad you brought that up. Tarantino and J.J. Abrams are still working on
another
on one together. So
Right.
that one is going to be coming out after this one.
Yeah.
Is the way that it looks right now. And I think that one's going to be following on the heels of this one pretty closely. Like, they might even be in the same calendar year or less than 12 months apart, but this is going to be the next one.
Yeah, I feel like they are taking this, at least from what I've seen with, Jessica Jones and the work that she did on that, but kind of these, like, weighted, darker, characters, and that might be the direction that they're continuing to go in, so that it does link up with Tarantino's.
And a lot of different characters is a hallmark of S.J. Clarkson's work on television. Dani mentioned Jessica Jones. She's also directed a couple episodes of The Defenders.
Oh, yeah, The Defenders as well.
And Orange is the New Black. She
Yeah.
worked on that for a time, too. So, Ed, what do you think of this move overall in the landscape of Star Trek with S.J. Clarkson coming on, with what the plot details are? Where do you see this?
I mean, I feel as though the Star Trek, it's just following the trend that they've been on, because I'm a big fan of Star Trek Discovery, and they had a female captain and also a female protagonist that wasn't a captain, so that we could see, even in a more egalitarian, intersectional way, the lower class so-called people on the ship, the lower than XO, all the other people on the ship. What are they doing? The dynastic captains are talking and drinking Earl Grey tea. What's the guy the torpedo tube doing? You know what I mean? So I like that aspect of it. And Michelle Yeoh played the captain in there. So I feel like it's just going in that direction, behind the camera as well as in front of, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
Are you as a big Star Trek fan, do you like where they've taken the 3 movies in this rebooted Star Trek, or what would you change up?
Personally, I'm going to sound like the biggest beta cuck ever, but I love Star Trek Discovery more than the movies at this point. Because I think the Klingons are super hardcore, even though they're the same Klingons from basically the same Klingons from J.J. Abrams' version. That super sick redesign of the Klingons, love that. I love the redesign of their mentality. I love the depiction of them in there. So I think as long as the movies start hewing even closer to what Star Trek Discovery is set up. They even have people with PTSD in there, man. It's
so important, yeah.
Yeah, they really talk about the real aspects of space.
I think that the big move that Paramount can do, now that they have S.J. Clarkson directing it in place and you have Chris Hemsworth, Chris Pine, Zachary Quinto starring in this movie, you need to open this movie. Don't get cocky with the cast you have. With Chris Hemsworth, he's in all these Avengers movies, and Chris Pine, he's a famous movie star. Do not open this movie in the middle of the summer where there's always another sci-fi film coming. Open this movie sometime early in the year or later in the year when you don't have as much competition, because Star Trek Beyond, I think that was the fate that befell that movie. I think it was a good movie, and did they market it correctly? Probably wouldn't want to use sabotage if they could go back in time and use that.
That's one thing I would say is if they need to, I think Star Trek Discovery does this with even the credit sequence. Look at the credit sequence of Star Trek Discovery. It's beautiful. It's architectural. It's a thinking man's I'm gonna fight your ass in space, basically. And as I think they need to go back to that, release it in the fall, make it seem like a prestige movie that just happens to have laser guns in it. Position yourself as a thinking man science fiction, because the regular guy, Mountain Dew science fiction of comic book movies is kicking your butt. So get away from it. Move away from it.
Yeah, well, it's been no bed of roses, no pleasure cruise for Star Trek or for the Bohemian Rhapsody movie. There's been a number of changes behind the set, but we now officially have some new images from the movie starring Rami Malek as the iconic, in my opinion, the greatest frontman of all time, Freddie Mercury of Queen. These images, I mean, you really would not, if you just put these up online, like, and you Googled Queen and this is what came up, I don't know.
You would think it was him?
You wouldn't be able to tell the difference. And it's not just Rami Malek. I mean, I know he's the star and everybody's excited to see what he can do as Freddie Mercury. Dude looks like Brian May in that other pic. And Brian May is one of the all-time great guitar players. So I see these images. The movie comes out November 2nd, 2018. Dani, I know it's a little hard to just see an image and be like, oh, the movie's going to be great.
No, I am moved because I feel like Rami is he's doing work to break ground for people that have strong jaws like myself. He's breaking bare. Look at that. We got the same. Everyone always writes me about it, which is rude, okay? The only thing I can do is get surgery, and I'm not going to do it because I'm afraid it's going to mess up my face like other people. Anyways.
So you're saying one day you can play Freddie Mercury?
Yeah, I can. Hit that. I don't know if that stash is real. It's very impressive. But no, I love Mr. Robot, and he plays such this conflicted, dark, somber character, and so I feel like he's definitely going to be channeling this for a lot of the traumatic and more serious parts of this film. But I'm so excited that he also gets to play around on stage and be Freddie Mercury, and I'm excited to see that side of him as well, because he's such a great actor. To just limit him to one type of role, I'm excited for this and our jaws.
Yeah, and apparently he's using that jaw to sing himself a lot of the Queen songs. And the movie comes out in November 2018, so one could surmise that this is shaping up, and that release date moved around a couple times. I mean, they had a directorial switch because Bryan Singer was working on it. Dexter Fletcher came in to replace Singer and reshot a lot of it earlier this year. Is this shaping up to be an Oscar contender in your eyes?
I would like, if it's a great movie, yes. You know what I mean? I think that'd be great. I'm just really looking forward to the inevitable montage set to Another One Bites the Dust. That's what I'm looking forward to. I know it's going to happen. It's going to be sick. I called it. When you watch the movie,
you mean like the old school AMV? Oh, you mean like in the film?
Yeah, in the film.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the YouTube AMVs. Oh, remember those that people used to do?
Oh, there's gonna be some of those too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just maybe Freddie's going down a spiral. He's doing too much coke or something. Don't. You know what I mean? It's real Scorsese stuff, man. It's gonna be great.
I just can't wait to see how they frame, and you got a hint of it in one of those pictures, the iconic 1985 Live Aid performance of Queen doing We Are the Champions, just in front of just an ocean of people. I mean, look at that. That is so incredible, and that's from the movie. So I imagine that's some sort of like Photoshop or CGI magic, but it looks
like Gladiator.
Really good. Yeah. I'm not the biggest Queen fan. Like, I like their music a lot, but I will acknowledge, even in all of my fandom for other rock bands like Van Halen and Zeppelin and Aerosmith, Freddie Mercury is the best lead singer of all time. Does anybody want to come at me on that?
It's silent. I mean, I was gonna say Justin Timberlake of NSYNC for boy band eras.
I was gonna say Keith Sweat. Keith Sweat was an R&B singer with no range.
Well, we're going to move on to our next story. Keith Sweat and Justin Timberlake, you're out of the show. Freddie Mercury's back. We go to The Predator now, and Predator has a reboot of its own coming out later on this year, and some plot details were released, including the Predator's got some new DNA in his joints. Apparently, the Predators are genetically modified. No, they haven't been sleeping around. What the Predators do is that they're a hunting culture. So what they've done is they've enhanced their own abilities by injecting the DNA of other alien species into their bodies. It's kind of like when baseball players use steroids. They're putting other stuff into their bodies. So are they on PEDs? Yes. Is it going to help their hunting ability? Yes, especially when they come to Earth and tangle with all of the Earthlings that are going to be running around here. So that's our new plot details. The movie comes out in September. I am so excited for this movie. Here's your cast. It's directed by Shane Black, who did Iron Man 3 and was actually in the first Predator movie. Boyd Holbrook from Wolverine, or from the Logan movie. Trevante Rhodes, Jacob Tremblay, Keegan-Michael Key, Olivia Munn, Sterling K. Brown, Thomas Jane, and Jake Busey. It's a good cast. A lot of them are not going to make it out of this movie alive. Why? Because, Ed, we're genetically modified now. We're even more badass predators.
You know, I don't want to start out negative. I don't. I love Shane Black. Okay, Shane Black launched 1,000 horrible screenplays. You know what I mean? With his style. You know, when people started reading those screenplays, they're like, I can make a side to the reader. Well, I'm going to get real funny right here, boy. Woo! So, yeah, I love Shane Black. And I even love him as a director. Nice Guys, great movie. Mm-hmm. I'll say great with a G.
Funny.
You know what I mean? But
is there another way?
Well, a capital G then. I really mean it, right?
It's great with 3 G's like Tony the Tiger.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, well, not 3 G's. Anyway, there's definitely. I just feel as though this is if you took the Predators seriously, which nobody has since the very first Predator movie, I think, if you took them seriously and actually took us maybe back to their home world and watched that braiding ritual or something, or just something about them as real people, like a people.
Oh, man.
I think that would be kind of sick. But I don't think they've done that. I think they're going to take us back to the world. They're going to show us their modification thing. But that's just. Why do they need that? Why do they need some weird dinosaur DNA or something? They're 8 feet tall. They have all this technology.
I'll tell you why they need it. Because they hunt aliens. Like the actual aliens. Like the 20th Century Fox property aliens. So if we see a predator open its mouth and then another mouth comes out because they decided they want some of that xenomorph action, that would be mind-blowingly awesome to me anyway, and I will totally disagree with you. I think that they have taken Predator seriously, but am I the only one that likes the Predators movie with Adrian Brody, where they put them on on a different planet, and it's just like a hunting ground? It's like where the Predators go to play paintball. They just drop a bunch of humans in there, and then they go hunt them, and it's a whole lot of fun.
I love the fact that you want to see like their life. Like you want like a slice of life Predator movie, like see them dropping their kids off and like because then you're like emotionally connected to them and you're rooting for them instead of the humans. I want a slice of, you know what? I would also like a slice of life Predator movie.
Yeah.
As well.
You don't just want to see him hunt, you want to see him like go shopping and raise kids.
Yeah, yeah.
Just drinking.
Going about their work. Yeah, it's like Monsters Inc. Monsters Inc. But with see, that's gonna get me.
What if that was the whole reason why Predators
Can you tell
hunt?
that we're taking this very seriously?
I am so appalled at what the panel is doing to this beautiful Predator movie.
You're hilarious because you were like, if only someone would take it seriously. Anyways, I would like to see their personal lives.
Well, I just think we think of them as these stupid monsters,
right?
But they got dope ass spaceships. They came here. We didn't go there. They snap us up, and they're nuanced. They grab Topher Grace.
What if they show us that we were the predators all along?
Oh my gosh.
I would love to see in this movie just like a nice fireplace with the Predators, and they have like a throw rug, but it's a human throw rug. Like they're walking all over that. They're playing board games or whatever.
Oh, their dice are vertebrae.
Look, I am seeing this movie opening night. I am thrilled about Predators. I want them to take it seriously. Danielle Fernandez.
Yes.
How many Predator movies have you witnessed in your lifetime?
Oh, you knew the answer to this before
I did.
You asked me. I actually haven't watched any of the Predator movies. Don't write me, whatever. I've seen all of Twilight Zone like twice, and I have like a whole wall of it. So I'm very into like sci-fi and things that were made before I was born. But I just haven't got around to watching them. So I guess, do I need to watch
And
All
what
of
would you
them?
say as far as like if somebody's a newbie to Predator, do they need to watch all the Predator movies, all the Alien versus Predator? Where
No. You watch Predator and you stop. Maybe you want to watch Danny Glover's Predator because it's kind of funny.
And it's got Gary Busey in it.
And it's got Gary Busey in it.
And this new Predators has Jake Busey in it. So we're continuing the Busey war, which I don't know that we needed. Look, if I'm advising Danny on watching Predator movies, I say you watch Predator, which we agree it's awesome. It's one of the best sci-fi action movies ever. And then you watch Predators because Adrian Brody's in it. Topher Grace,
I would agree. I would agree with that. Except one last thing, they did kidnap Topher Grace, and I did act like that was a virtue, but I think it was stupid as hell because in that movie, he's not the type of killer that I think a predator would be stalking and watching and trying to kidnap. I don't think that's very.
Was there some angle to like he was a doctor? Or
he was like a serial poisoner or something. Like the predator's gonna be in a tree watching some dude serial poison people, going, this guy's technique is tight.
Yeah.
No, they used to go into jungles and watch people shoot each other, and they go, okay, I'm gonna shoot these guys because they showed other guys. I think they're a simpler creature than that. I don't think they're just watching people.
Yeah, look, I mean, at the end of the day, as proven here today, Predators, they just want to go to Trader Joe's and find bargains. So, our last story of the day before we get to your live Twitter questions. Go ahead and start tweeting us right now at Collider Video. Use the hashtag Collider Movie Talk. What do you want to see in a Predator's day-to-day life? We are going to let you know that a Choose Your Own Adventure series of films has been announced. 20th Century Fox is saying it's partnering with interactive film company Kino Industries to license an app that will allow movie audiences to control the storylines and characters in a choose-your-own-adventure style. Now, this is going to take the mind to 1,000 different possibilities. The audience is going to be able to use Kino's app on their smartphones to vote on what the characters will do at pivotal points in the narrative. So the same movie can have a different plot, ending, running time, all of this stuff. It's looking to change the game as the way movies are seen. Dani, were you a fan of the Choose Your Own Adventure books
Hell
as a
yeah.
kid?
I remember when Goosebumps started having them. I thought it was so cool. But I also know that, like, I've watched old episodes of, like, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire where the entire audience gets it wrong. So I know people are dumb and trolls. So I can just imagine if the audience in your theater gets to pick what the next scene happens if you're in a theater with a bunch of morons. I don't know.
I mean, I
or
hate
trolls,
the fact
or my little brother.
we're encouraging audiences to use their phones even more than they already are.
Aside from that, we already have this thing going on with social media where they have direct connection to a lot of directors and filmmakers where audiences are literally tweeting at people saying, this is what should happen. This is what should happen. And now you're giving it to them. You know, you're giving them the opportunity. So it's kind of, I feel like, a lose-lose where there's so much power in it.
I think it would be
affect how the experience is for everyone else in the theater.
Right. I think it would be like an interesting experience though to do like one time. It kind of seems like an escape room to me. Like, let's try this once and see if we like it, because I can see a bunch of people or John Roque and his 90 friends that always go to the movies with him. They could all rent a theater out and they could sit in there and all pull their phones out. And I do see like if you have a scene and like just think in my head like a Tomb Raider movie, right? And she's about to like grab something and it's like, do you grab the amulet? Do you keep going into the cave? And then it gives the audience a chance to vote and you have like a minute to vote. That could be an exciting prospect to go see. I might pay money to do that once, Ed.
I would do it exactly once. That's really all I got to say about it. You guys hit all the talking points. No, I don't want more phone usage in the theater. No, I don't want to be beholden to the troglodytes around me. No, I also think as far as production value, if you're shooting 3 or 4 endings, 3 or 4 middles, 3 or 4 beginnings, I think that would lower the production value of movies, or like I don't think they'd be shot as well.
Also, technology is just not reliable. How many times you're going to be sitting there like hitting the button, and then it'll still like not load, and something will happen, and then and
then boo, everybody's booing and stuff. Like I mean, people got nuts when at that silent part in Last Jedi. The silent space part, they got nuts. Like, I'm not being constantly inundated with sound. I don't understand. So you're in a movie with people like that, and they're deciding what's on the screen. Okay, sounds fun, guys.
But anyways, invite me. I'll try it out.
I'll try it once, and then
try to change my mind. That's
cool.
That's the key. So what we're basically hearing is that Ed Greer is not going to cheat on his girl by going to a Choose Your Own Adventure movie without her say so. And yeah, I'd be up for it once, but like Dani brought up, I might not be able to participate because I have Sprint service and apparently I don't like to work anywhere. I'm still bummed from the Post-premiere party. Come on, Sprint. Get your act together. Well, we are going to remind you guys that later on, actually next week, we're taping a live episode of Jedi Council. Where are we taping it? At the best theater in Hollywood, a Denny's. I love Denny's. I'm very excited to be going to Denny's for Jedi Council, and we're going to invite a studio audience there too. 40 people are eligible, so you have to email us as soon as you can. Email us collidervideo@gmail.com, and in the subject line, write, I want to watch Jedi Council at Denny's. I want to watch Jedi Council at Denny's. That's what you write in the subject line. You can come there, eat some Solo, a Star Wars story-themed food, play a game of Sabak, and watch Jedi Council being taped. I also said yesterday that I had a tease about New York City. Roll the thing, kids. I'm coming back to New York City. Very excited to, that's my new promo poster. Thank you, Brian Ward, for doing that. June 7th and 8th, I'm going to be at New York Comedy Club, and then I just added June 9th at Fairfield Comedy Club in Connecticut. You can get tickets right now at markellislive.com. Because we have some newer panelists on the show today, I would like to turn it over to each one of them before we go to our live Twitter questions. Dani, where can the kids find you on the social media and see pictures of your dog?
I'm at Ms. Dani Fernandez. It's MsDaniFernandez, because the other Dani Fernandez is like a Spanish boy band singer. And then the other one of me is a magician. He's actually pretty cool. And then I have a podcast, a new podcast that is really great. Apple gave us a shout out. AV Club has written about it. Hector Navarro was on one of our most popular ones. It was the history of the MCU that just dropped this past week. It's called Nerdificent. It is on How Stuff Works. You can get it wherever you get your podcasts.
Very nice. Ed Greer, you're going to be on Comedy Central very soon.
Yes, I'm on the pilot episode of a show called The New Negroes.
Yes.
Don't at me. Just look up the Harlem Renaissance, and you'll understand what it means. And I also have my own podcast called Nerd Goat. And it's me and my man Ron Swallow. We talk to interesting people like Dani Fernandez and like yourself about their favorite all-time fictional character. Anybody from James Bond, Sherlock Holmes, Wolverine, Spider-Man, Goku, Vegeta.
Yes.
So the bottom line is, we do a deep dive about why you connect with these characters, not just us yapping about the canon or anything, but like, why do you like Punisher? 14-year-old guy who gets bullied. Why do you?
I can tell you why I like Punisher. I watched it twice.
Yeah,
He's good at growing a beard.
That beard was magnificent.
and he's got a great jawline, so it's all
there you
there.
go.
It's all
He
there.
does.
And
Maybe
he's
John
got,
Bernthal
you know what
can play
else he
lead
has?
singer.
He has heart.
Yeah, he kind of does. He's the fun. I love the Punisher. I want to go on Ed's podcast and talk about one of two characters, either Neon Bodeau, who is Shaq's character in Blue Chips, or Sidney Dean / Billy Hoyle from White Men Can't Jump.
Yeah.
You pick who we're talking about, because somebody already took Luke Skywalker. So
well, it's either Luke Skywalker or Shaq from a movie. And you can find me at Ed Greer Destroys on Twitter and at Ed Greer Destroys on Instagram, where you can see my art. Because I do a lot of hot art, baby. Anyway.
He actually is very talented. He drew a picture of what did you send me? Wolverine or Venom or something one time?
I made you Eddie Van Halen.
Yeah,
for your
That's
birthday.
For your
right.
birthday.
That's right. Yeah, I was okay. Well, Eddie Van Halen's real, so we can't talk about him on your podcast. But I'll work something in like that. We move on to live Twitter questions. Like I said, you guys can tweet us at Collider Video. Our first one today, it's one of those fun ones, probably inspired by us talking about a lot of people kicking ass, from Liedrich Fowler. If Keanu Reeves, Denzel Washington, and Liam Neeson all got together for one last drink at the Continental, the hotel from John Wick, and they had to fight to the death, who would win? Well, first of all, there's no killing at the Continental. That's one of the rules. But if we had to break that rule, I'm going to say this is Denzel's character from The Equalizer, okay? Liam Neeson's character from Taken, or Keanu Reeves as John Wick. Who do you like in that battle? God, that's tough.
Well,
I think Neeson's the first one to go.
Yeah, because his daughter's not there. He was not going to fight as hard.
Oh, he's not motivated.
He's not motivated enough. So he gets taken out quick.
Yeah.
Is there a dog around? Because I feel
if you're not giving Liam Neeson his family, you can't give John Wick a dog.
No, that gets us pet parents. Well, then I got to go with Denzel.
Yeah, Denzel. If you guys haven't seen the trailer for Equalizer 2 yet, that comes out in September around the same time as Predator, I think. Oh, no, Equalizer 2 comes out in July near my birthday. Awesome. I think Denzel's taking this one, too.
Well, it depends if there's a lot of coffee cups and staplers and pencils around for him to kung fu you with. You know what I mean? If you're in an Office Depot, you're going to get broke off by the Equalizer.
Is the John Wick, because they're closing out the John, or at least they say they're closing out the John Wick trilogy, but I think we might get more John Wick movies. The details of that movie emerged yesterday, and I think that movie comes out in early 2019. Is John Wick on y'all's radar as like a movie that you really want to check out or close that franchise properly? Do you care about John Wick at all?
I care more about that YouTube video with Dog Wick that I saw. Did you see that? It was what would happen in the reverse if like somebody had hurt his owner. Oh man. Anyways, Dog Wick. Yes, that's how I think they should close it out.
Dog Wick? I kind of like, flipping the universe and having Dog Wick.
Yeah, like a dog with like a just Rob Liefeld, Jim Lee, number of pouches and patches and stuff on him, just full of ammo, just jumping around, biting people, shooting them, biting, bite foo. Anyway, I feel like John Wick is dope as hell. Honestly, I never thought in my lifetime I would see another like grand man of action movie because that nowadays it's hard to set that up. Jack Reacher. You know what I'm saying?
Tried to.
It's hard to set up a new hard-ass movie. Taken did it reasonably well, but then it fell off pretty quickly. John Wick just keeps, to my mind, getting better.
Yeah, if you're Liam Neeson at this point, just stop answering the phone. It's never good news. Just leave that there. Don't let your kids go on vacation anywhere. Our next question comes from Christopher Woodburn, and he says, "You guys rock. Thank you. What's a remake or reboot that you'd like to see?" For him, he wants to see a Cujo remake.
Oh, dang.
I don't think I want to see a Cujo remake because
Dogs are in.
Yeah, we live in a culture where we want to celebrate dogs and not kill the dog in the movie.
Okay, I could do a terrible Cujo reboot. It's in the future, and Cujo is a faithful AI dog, and it gets a virus, and it's super duper techno Hulk powers of bursting through walls and armor and shit, armor and stuff don't come out.
This is weird because this is what a dog person I become. I don't even want to see an AI dog get hurt. Like even if it's an evil AI, if an AI dog gets a virus and takes over, let the dog take over. I'm pulling for the dog. Any other remakes you guys care to see?
I push for this like all the time, but I would like to see a live-action Goofy movie. Look, we have the technology, the makeup, the CGI, whatever. It doesn't have to be incredibly CGI'd. You could also do like what they did with Jim Carrey with the Grinch makeup type of thing and have like a dog. I mean, I will continue to push for this, and then y'all will see live-action Goofy movie, and my name better be somewhere
I think you
in
could
it.
get cast in it. I've seen you do cosplay as the Goofy Dogs.
Yeah, yes.
And
I've done both Lisa and Roxanne. You can check it out on my Instagram.
It makes me feel yucky how it makes me feel.
They're very sexual characters. That's how, trust me, that's how I felt about Max when I was in middle school. But yeah, I want to see it. I want to see a live action. I think you could have the soundtrack is amazing. Tevin Campbell is very available, but also, everyone cast Bruno Mars, and I think he'd be fun too. So,
but it would all be dog. Like it's in the dog universe.
But they have other characters because Mickey Mouse makes an appearance and Donald Duck makes an appearance, and they have other people that aren't dogs. It is in the Disney universe. But I think with how much all of us nostalgic '90s kids have been talking about Goofy movie constantly, and they had the anniversary recently, I think not capitalizing on it, they probably are behind the scenes. But anyways, Disney, let's talk.
Well, if there's one thing we know about Disney, it's that they certainly have the money to make a all CGI or some CGI / live action version of a Goofy movie. And if they don't have the money yet, after this weekend with Avengers Infinity War, pretty sure they're going to have some cheddar in the bank. That does it for us here on Movie Talk. Once again, I want to thank Dani Fernandez and Ed Greer. Thank you all for tuning in today. I'm merely Mark Ellis. See you all at the Ice House this weekend. You get tickets at markellislive.com. See you on Monday, everybody. Enjoy that little comic book movie. Hey everybody, Mark Ellis here. Thanks for watching this episode of Collider Movie Talk. You want to watch more? Then click up here, or you can click right here for more great content from Collider. And if you haven't subscribed to Collider Video, do so right now and share this vid with your friends. Thanks for watching.